The Man from the Fog. It's your second night in the world, pitch dark out. You're not doing anything special, just chopping wood, ignoring the weather, vibing. Then the fog rolls in thicker than usual, and somewhere in the trees, you hear a whistle. You stop and look around, nothing's there. Then lightning hits the ground 20 blocks away, and a tall figure is suddenly sprinting at you on all fours, faster than you can run, breaking through every tree in its path. You don't make it back to your house. That was the Man from the Fog, a tall, gangly figure with long limbs, glowing white eyes, and a mouth full of sharp, bloodied fangs, who shows up at the edge of your render distance roughly every night or two and just watches. The whole encounter is basically a staring contest you can't win. Take your eyes off him for a second and he closes the gap until by the time you look back, he's basically in your kitchen. So you have to look at him eventually, and the moment you do, he either vanishes into the fog or decides he's done watching. And spoiler, it's usually not the vanishing one. The whistle is his warning shot. When it ends, lightning strikes and he starts sprinting at you on all fours, hits you for 15 hearts a swing, inflicts blindness for good measure, and breaks any block in his path with a hardness of 3 or less. So your cobblestone walls aren't saving you, mate. His lore is interesting because he's after your sanity. The whole stalking routine is meant to corrupt you over time, feeding on the paranoia and dread that comes from being watched by a long-armed nightmare in your own dirt hut. Killing him drops a Tear of the Man, which you can throw into a ritual block to teleport into his dimension voluntarily, which is somehow a thing some people do. Cave Dweller. You're 60 blocks down, mining for diamonds, torches every few blocks, the usual cave noises in the background. Then you hear something else, something closer than the ambient noise, and not a sound the game has ever made. You turn around and there's something tall and green standing in the tunnel you just walked through. Glowing white eyes, long arms, way too many teeth for a creature that's supposedly not in the game. You blink and it's gone. Then you hear footsteps behind you. Every Minecraft player has heard the cave noises, those random grunts and chains echoing up from somewhere you can't see. The Cave Dweller is what's actually making them, a 3-block-tall green nightmare watching you from a tunnel you already walked past, waiting for you to look directly at it before deciding whether to bolt or chase you down. The chase is where it gets nasty, because this thing can crouch down to 2 blocks and crawl through 1-block gaps, meaning anywhere you can physically fit, so can it. And there's no just block off the tunnel strategy here, then there's the rest of its repertoire. It snuffs out your torches to watch your reaction in the dark, peeks at you upside down from above blocks, spawns randomly in front of you only to fade away when you walk closer, and makes fake noises to gaslight you. Throwing meat on the ground might distract it, but the keyword is might. Now here's the one mercy. If you book it for the surface during a chase, the Dweller backs off because apparently sunlight is its line. But pull that trick too many times and it gets fed up, drops the rule entirely, and just chases you into the daylight until something dies. Herobrine. It's a single player world, definitely no one else because there is no server. Then you spot something in the distance, a figure standing in a clearing looking right at you. Looks exactly like Steve, except the eyes are wrong, pure white, no pupils. You take a screenshot. By the time you load the file, the figure's gone. The figure has a name, Herobrine. The story goes he was the deceased brother of Notch, somehow embedded into the game wearing Steve's skin, which would be a great origin story, except Notch never had a brother. What he actually does in your world is the unsettling part. He stalks players from the edge of unexplored areas, builds long 2x2 tunnels through mountains for absolutely no reason, drops sand pyramids in the middle of the ocean, and strips whole forests of their leaves until nothing's left but the trunks. Basically, he's a creative mode player who just refuses to log off. He doesn't speak in-game either, but he gets his point across through signs left in your world, ominous chat messages, and the occasional "stop" or "only God can help you now" popping up in the corner of your screen. In some versions of the story, he can even possess your passive animals, giving your chickens and cows the same blank white eyes he's got. There are basically 2 flavors of him out there. In the older folklore, he's a stalker who vanishes the moment you approach him, and in the newer stuff, he's gone full vengeful, building underground dungeons specifically to trap players inside, sealing exits behind you, teleporting to wait in the dark. He can supposedly be summoned too. You build a 3x3 square of gold blocks, put a netherrack on top, surround it with 4 redstone torches, then ignite the netherrack. Then he comes through. That's the theory anyway, and nobody who's tried it can quite agree on whether it actually works. He has never been in the game. He has been removed from the game more than 30 times. The Anomaly. 40 days into your survival world, nothing weird has happened yet. You've explored the surface, set up a base, started branching out into the caves. Tonight you do what every Minecraft player does without thinking. You sleep through the night to skip it. That's the mistake, because somewhere deep underground, something that's been quietly tolerating your existence for 40 in-game days just decided you've earned its full attention. The thing waiting for you down there is called the Anomaly, and it doesn't show up early. It needs time, lets you build a base, lets you settle in and get comfortable, and waits until you've stopped expecting anything before it actually starts to bother you. It looks like Steve. Roughly 200 health points of Steve, with red eyes and the unsettling ability to crawl, which is never a feature you want on a humanoid mob. In its base form, it can pass for normal at a glance, and the actual problem only shows up when it gets close enough to kill you, at which point its head splits open to reveal multiple eyes and a tongue inside, and the tongue is not decorative. It grabs you and pulls you toward the rows of teeth that just appeared where a face used to be. Sleep makes it worse. Every night you spend in a bed makes it more aggressive, and the longer you stay in the world, the more it evolves into something you're not supposed to know about in advance. Which is great if you enjoy spending 40 hours building a comfortable little Minecraft life, only to have it dismantled by a Steve cosplayer with a sword mouth. The Mimicker. Somewhere behind you, you hear a voice. Sounds like your friend, the one you played with last week. He's calling you over, says he needs help, except your friend isn't on the server. You're playing alone. You turn around and there's something standing in the trees. It's wearing Steve's clothes. It is somehow also Steve, but the limbs are too long, the smile is too wide, and the eyes are sunken into a face that doesn't quite fit on the head it's attached to. Through the gap in its torso, you can see something black and wrong moving underneath the skin. Then it points at you and opens its mouth. This is where Steve ended up. The creature wearing his face is called the Mimicker. What happens when a black extraterrestrial parasite gets inside a human body and refuses to let it die? Steve is still in there, fully conscious, fully aware of what's being done to him. On paper, it's got 150 health and only does 3 damage per hit, which sounds manageable until you realize it moves like a weeping angel and only walks towards you when you're not looking. So the second your back's turned, it's already closer than it was a second ago. It can also climb blocks, crawl through 1-block gaps, and go invisible for up to 5 seconds. Basically everything you don't want a stalker to be able to do. But the audio is where it really earns its name. It uses the voices of other players you know to lure you out of cover, calling your name in your friend's voice, begging for help in a tone you trust. And the moment you actually walk over to investigate, the dialogue switches. You are nothing without me. I am the original. The only thing I see is fear. And then the chase starts. The Growling Man. The sun's almost down and you're walking back to your base. You can hear the usual nighttime mob spawns starting up. Zombies somewhere in the distance, the occasional skeleton. Then you hear something else, lower and closer, a growl. You stop and listen, but the growl doesn't repeat. You start walking again. Faster this time. A few seconds later, footsteps behind you. Not the heavy stomp of an iron golem, soft to deliberate footsteps that match your pace exactly. You don't look back, you just sprint, you don't make it home. The Growling Man does not announce himself because he prefers it that way. He spends days at the edge of your hearing, dropping a single growl out in a forest somewhere, a single footstep just outside your base, never quite enough to confirm what you're actually hearing. Then one night with no warning, he's already at your back. The whole hunt happens through sound. The growls are the warning, the footsteps are the countdown, and by the time you can actually see him, you're already in the chase, which historically does not end well for whoever's being chased. Sometimes he's 100 blocks away and barely audible. Sometimes he's already inside the room with you. There's no consistent distance you can rely on, no safe radius, and once he decides to show up, he isn't leaving until something dies. The silence. You've stopped sprinting, you only break blocks when you absolutely have to. Walking is slow, breathing is quiet, and you don't bother with torches anymore. Every sound you make in this world reaches them. You don't know how many there are, or what they look like up close because anyone who's gotten close enough to find out hasn't reported back. You're sitting in the dark, holding your breath, listening for something that's listening for you. This is life under the silence. They live inside the sound, and every input you make in this game, footsteps, block breaks, the wet noise of eating, the creak of opening a chest, is a beacon for them, and the moment they hear it, they come. Surviving them is more about research than combat. There's a history scattered through this world, written into signs and structures, and the audio you catch when you're not the one making noise. And the whole answer to getting out of this alive is buried somewhere in there, if you stay quiet long enough to actually find it. Most nights you'll just sit in the dark, doing nothing, listening. The world tells you, in plain terms, that this is the right call, that sometimes the only correct move is to stay silent and helpless, no matter how badly you want to do something about your situation, which is, incidentally, exactly what real prey animals do. Void. You take a screenshot of your spawn point, standard scenery, a desert village, some trees. Days later you look at the photo again and notice something you missed in the moment. A black figure standing in the distance. Player shaped, no name tag, just standing there, watching. You weren't playing alone apparently. In 2019, a group of friends started a server on version 1.8.8. They built a base, made a nether portal, came back. That's when things started breaking. Dynamite blast marks appeared near the village, houses started exploding for no reason, and entire biomes looked like someone had edited the world with World Edit, except no one had. The friends restarted the server, and the tree near their house had become a red mushroom. After another restart, the mushroom was back to being a tree, but with a red torch sitting under it. The sky darkened in a desert with no rain, and lightning led them, very deliberately, into their mine, where all the torches had been replaced with red ones, signs with strange text had appeared, and holes straight to bedrock had opened up in the walls. Then someone started typing in chat using the voice of the server itself. That someone was Void. He had a black skin and no entry in the player list, and the portal he'd built in the mine wasn't a nether portal or an end portal. It was something else entirely, leading to a place of pure bedrock, with mushrooms covering the ground and chamois cobblestone pillars instead of obsidian ones. Void told them his name had originally been Alex, that Herobrine had lured him into the Void, and now he was what he was. He answered their questions about other Minecraft myths too. Herobrine and Null are real, he said. Green Steve and Entity 303 are fakes. Then he sent them back, where they found a cactus structure shaped like an eye, following them around their world. Eventually the portal stopped working, and when they tried to open it again, it just dumped them in the regular end. If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.